Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Ernest Dempsey. I'm an author of over 50 books, and I love watching videos about conspiracy theories, historical conspiracies, mysteries, all that sort of stuff. And so I thought, well, it'd be fun to do some reaction videos to some of this because I write a lot of this stuff. I come up with a lot of my own conspiracy theories for some of my books. And so I thought, yeah, let's do some reaction videos. So here we are, and in this video, we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be reacting to rather an interesting video that came through my feed just a little while ago, and I looked at it and I was like, okay. I watched like the first 15 seconds, I guess, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to do this and see what the readers think and everyone else that's out there on YouTube. So anyway, I haven't watched the rest of this, so I'm super curious about it. But this is apparently some UFO video that Economic Times released at the time of shooting this video. It was at like 8 hours before I shot this, so maybe 9 hours ago, 8 or 9 hours ago. I don't know if this news is old. Like this could have happened like 2 years ago, and I didn't know about it, and I just got this through my feed. So, if that's the case, uh, and you want to say it nicely in the comments, that's cool. No worries. But for me, this is brand new, and so I wanted to see what this was about. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this video. That's wild right there. Sorry,
I want to queue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone. And so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
Yeah, there's no sound here, but you see that thing moving on the screen, right? And one of our drones is tracking this. I mean, those things are moving. There it goes. There was the missile. Just bounced off of it. And there's some debris, but it's like following it. The debris like following this thing, whatever it is.
This is when it zoomed out. So you can still see it traveling.
Crazy.
So, Mr. Knapp, have you heard about events like this occurring? And what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally, some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off.
That's crazy. I mean, okay, so I'm particularly fascinated by this, and I'm not a big like alien guy, like UFO guy. I don't get too deep into those kind of conspiracy theories. However, I started noticing strange things in the sky at night over my neighborhood a couple of summers ago. And maybe it might have even been 3 summers ago. So it could be 3 years ago. But sun goes down, it's dark, and I started seeing these, it looks like a star moving across the sky, but it's definitely not a plane, way high up, and it's moving, but these weren't satellites, because I've seen I know what satellites move like. I know what the ISS looks like when it's crossing over in space. This was not those things. And I started noticing them, and I was really just really curious. So my initial thought is, I don't go straight to I don't go straight to aliens, right? Like my initial thought is, look, I'm a fiction author. I could just jump right into the alien pond. But no, my suspicion is, okay, that's some sort of government tech, right? I know what Starlink looks like when Starlink satellites go over. You know, they go over in rows or whatever. We saw them recently. But this was different. This was completely different. The speed was different than any satellite I've ever seen. And then it disappeared at some point. And it didn't disappear at the horizon. It was in the middle of the sky, just vanished. I spoke to a friend who, let's just say, he knows about some of these kinds of things. And he may or may not have done some things for the government at some point. I don't know. I can say that with real honesty. I don't know. So, but he was like, I asked him about it. And he's like, yeah, we have different types of drones that fly over. They're doing different types of surveillance. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of what I assumed, except for a couple of things. So one point, one of them that flew over was there were actually, it changed directions sharply. So it didn't veer. It like just stopped and did like a 90-degree turn in the sky, right? Another one was there was a couple of them, and one broke away from the other, and the other took off on a different vector. And I was like, these are not like normal aircraft. Could still be drone technology, but I've seen other ones that did stuff that drones can't do. And this involves tight circles, other stranger maneuvers, and then occasionally I've seen them with like they'll turn and then like a bright white light comes out of it, and it looks like it's out of the back. So I'm assuming it's some kind of propulsion. So I would tell my wife about this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. It's weird. And she thinks I'm crazy, or yeah, you're just a crazy fiction writer. So then, like last summer, we're out on the back porch, and I'm watching, and she's talking to her friend, and sure enough, I see one, and I'm like, look at that, and tell me I'm crazy. She's like, what is that? And then all of a sudden, it stops, it starts spinning, and then a bright light comes out of it. It shoots off in this other direction and disappears. I said, what do you think now? And she said, that was absolutely terrifying. And I don't know how to reconcile what I just saw. I said, thank you. Case closed. Me either. Again, just assuming it's some kind of government tech. But what you're seeing in this video, okay, is government tech against something else. It's not attacking other government tech. And if there is other government tech that can just deflect a missile like that, well, we got other problems. So what do you, I do want to know what you think in the comments. I know that, these type of videos, try to get you to make those comments, but I'm super curious because I want to know, right? So that's partly why I shoot these videos, is like, maybe you can share some information with me that I don't have. Let's see where this conversation goes. I'm sorry I just went off for like 7 minutes there.
And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah. What the hell is that? What flies like that?
Again, I'm not going to speculate what it is, but the question is, why are we being blocked from this information consistently? I want to ask this just question. How in the world, this is the document, I want to enter this in for the record if it hasn't already been entered, Madam Chair. The document that you provided on thread 3, this is a huge file. How in the world did you smuggle this out of Russia?
Carefully.
getting your socks?
And I don't think I want to be really specific about it because I might have to go back there and get some more sometime. Although,
Okay.
no, that'd be crazy to do that. Well, again, I took the top pages off that were stamped with the security signature, and I carried them out on my person. But the rest of them I just threw in my suitcase and threw some caviar in there as a distraction as well, and hoped for the best. Otherwise,
This guy's gangster, you know? I mean, like, this is what we talk about all the time. My brother and I talk about this all the time. Like, look, if you're in a place you're not supposed to be, or you're trying to get into a place you're not supposed to be getting into, the number one secret to success, you may not be 100%, but your odds of success go way up. Act like you're supposed to be there. Act like it's completely normal, whatever it is you're doing, right? If you just act like it's normal, then your body language is going to look like it's normal. And then, those little visual cues, the like gatekeepers that might keep you out of a VIP place or whatever it might be. In this guy's case, stealing documents. I mean, just take the top secret label off of it and throw some of it in a briefcase, hold some of it in front of you. It's like the purloined letter, Edgar Allan Poe wrote about. That's exactly what it is. It's the purloined letter, which, by the way, I love dropping little hints to the purloined letter in some of my books. That's not a plug. I'm just saying I love doing that. Big fan of Poe. Let's continue.
otherwise I'd be a citizen of Siberia right now.
And you had you reported James Lakatsky came to you with government possession of NHI craft and how they ultimately gained entry. Can you testify to the veracity of that claim?
Veracity.
Dr. Lakatsky is an honorable man who served most of his career with the DIA, a very trusted, high-level rocket scientist and intelligence analyst who inspired the OSAP program, as I said earlier. And in full disclosure, I've co-written 2 books with him. He dropped this on myself and our other co-author out of the blue. And it took 14 months for us to get DOPSR approval for him to release 2 sentences on that. He said this craft, we had managed to get inside of it. It had no wings, no rotor, no tail. It had no fuel tanks. They didn't know how it flew or how it was operated. It clearly looked like it was aerodynamic, but he would not go further. He's a by-the-book guy, and until he...
Wait, what did he mean by we got inside it? Like inside a general area where it was? Or like literally got inside it? Sorry, maybe that was what the documents were. Maybe that was, I don't know. Okay, so maybe this is a different one. Enlighten me in the comments, because it sounds like they were inspecting the inside of it, but maybe this was just from the observation.
Until he gets clearance to say more about that, I don't think we're going to hear much more. But it's not ours. It wasn't ours. We didn't make it. We didn't know who made it and how it was built and how it operated. We've got at least one, and I don't know. I think that's enough confirmation that we do have recovered discs and materials.
Lastly, Mr. Borland,
Okay. There you go.
in the classified realm, have you been exposed to undeniable confirmation of NHI technology? And then my second question is Base Systems involved in any way with reverse engineering exploitation of non-human intelligence craft?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation this Skip for that. Whether I'm legally even allowed to answer that, and whether you're even allowed to hear it, sir.
I mean, okay. Look, I love the guy's answer. I mean, that's what he was told to say. I mean, he knows what he's supposed to say. So he's being honest. He's not lying. But I mean, if I'm judging this, I'm saying, okay, so if the answer isn't yes, the answer is still something that's going to be extremely compelling, right? I mean, like, whatever this guy knows, he's got to ask permission to say it, and he's got to see if this guy's got permission to hear it. golly, I don't know what this committee is, but if I was a politician, I would want to be on. This is the committee I'd want to be on. They get all the fun stuff. That's like, I mean, could you imagine like the boring like financial committees that people sit through, or like these other like FDA regulation committees and tax committees and all? Like, this is the committee. If you're a senator or whatever, this is whoever's running this. This is what you sign up for. Like, you say, hey, listen, this is the committee I want to get in. Man, there's no money in that. Yeah, I don't care. I'm making a salary here, right? So this is the committee I want to be in on. I want to get paid to hear this stuff.
Okay. Again, you can sense our frustration. And so I just want to thank you for coming forward. We will continue to fight because, look, this is about making sure that this government belongs to the people and restoring the republic the way it was intended to be.
Oh, there's a novel concept. Why start now? I mean, maybe this guy's a legit good dude. I don't even know who this guy is, but maybe he's a legit good dude. And he got elected, and they were like, yeah, he doesn't want to play ball with the rest of us, so put him on this alien committee. Let's like sweep him under the rug. But he actually cares. At least he seems like it. I don't know. Sometimes they're really good at concealing their true intentions.
Madam Chair, I also have further witnesses of courageous individuals. It was given to me by Dr. Stephen Greer, including Michael Herrera and his testimony. We have Roderick Castle and his testimony, Randy Anderson, his testimony, Stephen Digna, and others, 3 others, all saying similar things to what the witnesses today have said, and I would like to enter that into the record as well.
No objection.
You know, at this point, I think it's clear from...
And I mean, look at all the empty seats. Like, I wonder if you could have... Man, I would have loved to have been there. I mean, were those tickets on StubHub? Did they like have like seat pick or something? Like that? Like, I would go to that. I know. It's some politician's chairs. And look how few of them showed up. What are they doing? This is the one you want to go to, unless they just already know. But so what's more important? I don't know, fundraising rally? Like putting some trades in?
From the hearing that there's advanced technologies that are taking place in our airspace.
Obviously.
You know, the question is, and I posed it in one of the previous hearings, is it ours, is it theirs, or is it otherworldly? There may not be a silver bullet at the moment, but when you look back through the hearing and the evidence that's been presented, if you're going to point the American people to one piece of evidence to start their journey on this topic, what would you suggest, sir?
Good question.
One piece of evidence, I would start with this hearing, in the first hearing. There is no evidence.
But is there a specific, exactly, but is there a specific evidence or footage or document that you think lends extreme credibility to what we're discussing today?
I would say this new video we're seeing today is exceptional evidence that we're dealing with something.
With the kinetic?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggins?
Sir, I'd have to say that if just the average person here in America looked at absolutely everything that has come across television, the internet, etc., you can't tell yourself that 100% of what's being recorded is fake or false. You have to, at some point, understand that there's something else out there.
Well, I mean, and you bring an interesting point. You know, in the law enforcement community, anytime you're conducting an investigation, you're always looking at the totality of the circumstances. You're looking at all the evidence and how they piece together. And so that would be my, advice to the American people, that this is a journey that is just beginning from a congressional perspective, but you have decades of data, some of it not real, much of it is, but thanks to Chairwoman Luna, we're now presenting this to the American people. And I think this latest video from Mr. Burleson is something that should get everyone pause. When you see the 3 orbs that drop, was that in a defensive posture, or was that in an offensive posture? And what capabilities did those orbs have that we, quite frankly, may not have? Mr. Knapp?
When he talks about orbs, it reminds me of the Foo Fighters from World War II. You know, those glowing orbs. And these are American pilots flying these missions, right? Flying over Germany, and they see these orbs of light off of their wingtips, and it's not the St. Elmo's fire phenomenon that pilots report seeing sometimes. So it's they see these things, and they reported them moving and chasing them at some points, and they were easily evading their maneuvers. They didn't attack. They were extremely strange. And you're talking about these American pilots in the 1940s, okay? So these are just regular guys, man, that are just, they're the typical 1940s guys. Maybe they did a little swing dancing, but they're manly men, not like the Men in Tights song, like manly men, we're men in tights, like real manly guys. And they're not going to fabricate some crazy science fiction story, right? These guys are by the book. These are honorable, real military guys, and these types of guys do not fabricate stories like this. Most of the time, that's going to be somebody like me that's writing fiction, right? I don't really write sci-fi. I have, but like sci-fi writers come up with this kind of stuff, right? These guys were just by the book American pilots. They took orders. They did what they were supposed to do. They obeyed their orders. They just did their mission. Fabricating stuff like this it wasn't who they were, right? And yet that stuff got swept under the rug. And this sort of thing it's been swept under the rug forever, just constantly. It's so interesting. And I'm really not a huge like UFO guy, alien guy. I almost never write about it in my fiction. Usually I stick to historical mysteries and conspiracy theories, things like that. So, but this is compelling. And we'll see there's only a few more minutes left. I'll let it play out.
As I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks, what hooked me on the story was the paper trail, these documents that shouldn't exist. We've been told for decades, over and over, there's nothing to it. It's not a threat. You can go about your business. And then when FOIA becomes the law of the land, thousands of pages to the contrary leak out. There's a memo by General Nathan Twining in 1947 when the country was being overflown by dozens of UFOs, hundreds of UFOs, in which he said, look, this is not visionary or fictitious, it's real. These things are craft. They're not ours. They outperform anything we've got. I mean, if you follow the paper trail of documents that they wrote before the military got wise and realized that FOIA really exists and changed their tune and not put things in writing, it spells it out pretty clearly. I'll go refer back to Russia. One incident I did not mention to Representative Burleson is Colonel Sokolov in that Ministry of Defense program said there were 40 incidents where Russian warplanes were sent to intercept UFOs, and they were ordered to fire on them. And for the most part, the UFOs would zip away. 3 of the pilots, though, did fire at these things. Those 3 planes stalled out, crashed. 2 of those pilots died. And after that, the Russians changed the standing order. If you see a UFO, leave them alone. No country in the world wants to say and admit that these objects are flying around in our airspace and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, who wants to say that? The U.S. certainly doesn't, and the Russians didn't either.
And I've got to be almost out of time, but Mr. Berlin, then you, sir, real quickly.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think Bob Lazar, and not for the reasons that most would talk about, mainly because Bob Lazar was immediately discredited. They said he never worked where he worked. They said he never did what he did. But yet Bob Lazar showed up with a bunch of friends and a video camera and was filming these test flights in the middle of the desert. So clearly he knew something.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, man, That is an interesting video, and I think I pretty much, spoke my mind about my thoughts on it. Yeah, but what do you think? I want to hear what you think in the comments. Am I crazy for some of the things that I've thought or said? And I want to hear what your ideas are. I think it's interesting going back to the things that I've observed. I assuming that they were government tech, um, this adds a new layer to that because, what if it's our government tech trying to run, what if it's not just surveillance of us, or like looking for terrorists or whatnot, but what if it's also defense patrol? What if these are patrol missions for UFOs, right? Um, Obviously, those patrols seem ineffective with our current weaponry. So, what does that mean? What do you think about why it hasn't been released to the public? Are they afraid of chaos with, all of society if we find out that these things are flying around? Or, what would the reaction be? What would the reaction be from society as a whole? How would people in general react to finding out, okay, yeah, so this has actually been happening for a while, it's real, and we don't know what it is? What would the outcome be, right? Would it be panic, or would it be skeptical curiosity, right? Let me know what you think. I am super interested to hear your thoughts, and I hope you enjoy this video. I will be doing more like this and some others, that are more historical based, ongoing into the future. So anyway, I will see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.